So it's kind of accepted fact, once you build Reinier to Mythic Plus, you completely stop building Reinier. There's really no reason, even for like the really, like even decent whales, like I guess if you're Megalodon, go to Supreme Plus to get that 4% additional attack, which isn't a huge amount. But most of the time you go to Mythic Plus with Reinier because he helps in Dream Realm and places like that. But what do you do after that? Do you now transition over to Scarlita, to the newest hero, Taylene? Do you build another Hypogen or something like that? Like, you know, we got Phraesto. We got a lot of different options here, and I'm going to give you guys my take on it because I've seen a ton of people talking about it, because right now, most free-to-play players are getting their Mythic Plus Reinier completely done, and they're trying to decide what to move on to next. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. So like we said, once you take your Reinier up to Mythic Plus, that's pretty much the stopping point. That gets you everything you want. You can go to plus 10 on him to give damage reduction to the ally that you're switching, but even just unlocking the base version gives you that extra 25% damage against bosses or whatever target you are swapping. After that, that is when the real decision comes in. Couple little notes here. DNL, definitely not a character you want to go for as an average player. He's mainly a PvP only hero, and he's for Megalodons. Kind of the same thing with Belial. He has some niche uses in Zoo comps, but Zoo comp isn't like the best composition in any game mode. He can be a fun hero, but not, again, one you want to build. And of course, we have the newest hero, Taylene. She's a damage dealer, which means you kind of want to heavily invest into this hero. However, she doesn't create its own niche. Yes, we've shown you guys things where we run like Smokey and Haywin and healers built around her so that she can just infinitely use her ultimate right here. It's again not a character I think you absolutely need. You'll see her used in some Dream Realm bosses, but not enough to make her really worthwhile. It really comes down to two characters. Number one, Scarlita. If you are more interested in a PvP oriented route or some sort of support to your already built team, Scarlita is most likely going to be your choice. If you need a tank desperately, mainly for AFK battle pushing, then Phraesto is going to be the one. However, I do want to talk about one thing with Phraesto. We've talked about it previously. There are other tanks that can fill very similar roles, not quite as good as him, but you know, Granny can do pretty decent, Olmus can do pretty decent. I mean, heck, even Thorn can kind of do decent, even though he's more of a damage dealer. Thorn's more flexible, but I will say Phraesto is the go-to tank when you're pushing AFK battles. But AFK battles stop and drop value after a while, because if you actually take a look, I think it's after 1200, you essentially don't get any more summons, no more diamonds. All you get is additional season essence, and season essence does have a drop off. You also get some of those artifact shards, but you'll have so many of those that you don't even care. And you can see as you keep going up, you're just not going to be encountering things you absolutely need, and pushing drops off hard, and you don't need to after 1200. But again, in the early stages, it's more important. When you do take a look at the records on any one of these, most of these teams are going to have Phraesto as your tank and Smokey as your damage dealer. I mean, like, most of them are going to have that. Just about every single one of them is going to have it. Phraesto, 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 Phraesto. Occasionally you'll see like an Olmus or a Granny in there, but when it comes to the actual power of this hero, it's just unmatched when it comes to tanking. One thing to note is that his provocation season ability is kind of cool. If you don't have your Mythic Plus, this is a nice little benefit, because the only other time he would taunt, I think, is when his illusion dies. So it is a nice little benefit. If you guys don't know, taunt actually shuts down enemies from using their abilities. They just basically auto attack into him, which is a nice little survivability tool that does help quite a bit, although it's not like what makes him him. He is really going to want to go for Supreme Plus if you do build him, because you get that gigantic shield at the beginning of battle, lasting 12 seconds, absorbs a lot of damage incoming, can be very, very important. Definitely one you need at least Mythic Plus, most likely Supreme Plus for. And the other thing is, you will see him being used in a lot of Dream Realm battles now. Just about everybody is using Phraesto to get the extra edge. Typically, this would have been like, you know, something like a Florabelle or something like that for additional damage buffing. Phraesto has basically become the go-to to use in just about, what, 4 of the 6 different bosses out there right now. There's just like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 of them that he's like best in slot for. So remember that, because you're even seeing Reinier being dropped from a lot of these teams when you start pushing up higher. You can see Reinier gets you so far, and then it goes to the point where you're really pushing with additional heroes that are, you know, Scarlita or Phraesto. Scarlita is another one that's really good in Dream Realm 2, but she does have some advantages over him. Number one, Scarlita is probably the better PvP hero, just because in Arena we have that really annoying one where you can't do Reinier swaps very easily. Scarlita is the better PvP hero. Again, she is more useful at a lower copy number though, because her abilities work kind of just as good, because at the beginning of battle, no matter what, she's going to blink to the back row. She's going to be able to shield the ally that has lowest HP. However, you really do want her at Supreme Plus eventually, because she's also going to be giving herself, or the ally that gets that shield, physical defense and magic defense as well when she protects them, which is 50% of her own stats. And of course, the stronger she is, the more stats she is transferring over. One cool thing is when you do get her Mythic Plus, non-boss enemies with lower HP than a certain percentage, she can literally knock out of the battlefield. So that knocks out Taylene from Infinite Revives, that can knock out Thorin, that can knock out Igor with all those really annoying things. She has a big amount of utility, but a lot of times that's more or less geared towards PvP once again. But in PvE, for quite a while, she was used during pushing as well. Again, more for support and maybe a little damage added in too. She's kind of like a hybrid support damage dealer, whereas I would say Phraesto, that's not Phraesto. Phraesto is like a tank support hybrid. He does have surprisingly good damage too, especially now after the fix. His illusion, it actually now counts towards his damage. Previously, if you didn't know, before like a week or so ago, any damage the illusion didn't show up on the final scorecard. So there's really just two routes. I don't think going any other Celestial or Hypogean is the way. It's either going Scarlita if you're more oriented to a support hero, things like that. I will say there is potential of Scarlita's value dropping after this season, because remember, one of the big reasons why Scarlita gets slotted in, she has true damage, of course, but this extra 15% damage dealt in the final 40 seconds is a huge buff to damage. So just remember, she's a damage dealer slash supporter. Without her season ability, I don't know if she'll be used as much. We'll have to see what follow-up seasons have. However, one thing to just note, Phraesto is like the go-to for pushing. So it really has to depend at the end of the day what you want. Do you want AFK battles and Dream Realm? That's more Phraesto. If you want a mixture of PvP, some Dream Realm, some AFK pushing, then your option's not going to be Taylene. It's going to be Scarlita. So I kind of want to get my little 2 cents in here, because I know a lot of people have been talking this lately, and I think that's just the way to go. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.